they don't talk about that.
What's up, hooligans? Happy freedom. Sorry I'm late. Grab the URL, share it out so everyone can hear from the president.
Barack, remember Rush? Barack Hussein Obama. Rush Limbaugh. We miss him, don't we? Don't we miss him, Peter? They're bringing out Obama. I say, oh, they did that with Hillary Clinton. Good, I'm glad they're bringing him out. The reason they're bringing him out, because he doesn't even want to do it. I think he's exhausted. I watched him talking. I think the guy's exhausted. And I never say a guy's looking old, but he's looking a little bit older, isn't he? You know, nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong. But he's exhausted. He's exhausted. But you know, the reason they bring him out, and other people, they're bringing out all these other people. You know, nobody goes to their rallies. Nobody goes there. So you know what they do? They bring in so-called stars that I've never even heard of. You know, these are not stars to me. These are not stars to me. But they bring out some people. And what happens is the star comes in, they get a little bit of a crowd. They don't get crowds like this, and they have guitars. I don't, okay? I got nothing up here. And they bring them out, and they get an audience. They perform for a couple of minutes, and then they leave, and then the candidate gets up. There's nobody in the room. They got to do it the other way around, you know? Let her speak first. But they bring him out because they need help, because she cannot talk for more than 15 minutes. And when the teleprompter goes out, remember? 32 days, 32, 32. I said, what the hell is going on with her? I was watching. You always want to watch your opponent, right? And I was watching her, and she started doing that 32. She was just about gone, and then that sucker snapped back on. They go out. It's a dangerous business. You know, if you're a teleprompter reader, it can be dangerous, because no matter how good these guys are, I have a great guy, but about 5% of the time you lose a teleprompter. Sometimes it breaks down and snaps. We call it a snapback. You know, it's gone, and now you're on your way, and then you go ping, and it's back. But no matter how good they are, you lose it 5% of the time, and I thought she lost it. And I just wanted to see a little bit longer. I just wanted to see, because she was over. But if you'd like to go into politics, you got to be able to make a speech without reading a teleprompter. Because if you need a teleprompter like her, you're in trouble. We got two of them, Biden and her. How about Biden? He'd make us, hello. And then he could never find, I don't want to hit him too hard anymore, though, because, you know, I really want to keep it this way where he likes me better than her, because I think it's no, but think of it. They stole the presidency of the United States. They took it. I don't want to use the word coup. You know, nobody knows what the hell that means. Nobody. It was a coup, but nobody knows. It's simpler. They stole the presidency. They walked in. They said, "You're getting out." I mean, he didn't have to do that. And then they say he was so brave in getting out. He was so brave. It was so wonderful that he got out. He's a great American hero. They threw him out. They took him out. Crazy Nancy Pelosi. She's crazy. She did a nut job, by the way. And Schumer. I was with Schumer the other night at the big Catholic dinner. How did I do at that dinner? Good, huh? Yeah. The Al Smith dinner, big dinner, 77 years, almost without fail, every candidate goes to that out of respect to Catholics. And she said she's not going. It never happens. It hadn't happened in decades. And the last person, we know who that was. The last person lost, he lost everything but one state. You know what state it was? Minnesota, the home of the stupidest man I've ever seen run for office. Is there something wrong with that guy? He's always bouncing. He's going with his heart. Yeah. I never got that. But there's something wrong with that guy, I'm telling you. And you know, that should enter in, and I have somebody the exact opposite, a brilliant guy, J.D. Vance, who's really very solid, very solid. Kamala's inflation has already cost the typical family over $30,000 on higher prices, and now she wants to raise the typical family's taxes by nearly $3,000 a year. Take a look at this.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
Thank you. Remember when I said no taxes on tips, and then like a month later she goes, we will have no taxes on tips. Oh, and the place was booing her. They said, a little bit late. Anyway, and you never heard it. I haven't even heard her say it again after that, because that just shows you the kind of dedication they have to their statements. No, she's the taxing queen. And she's also demanding a shocking 33% tax hike on all domestic production, along with the largest capital gains tax hike in history. This is going to be the largest tax anybody's ever had to pay. And every business is going to leave our country and go to another country. They don't have to stay here. They have a lot of opportunity. It used to be you'd go to a different state. Now they go to a different country. They'll go to Asia. They'll go to Europe. Go to different countries. And you've had that. And all you're doing is forcing them out, and with them goes the jobs and the money. By contrast, I will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses and do just as you saw, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits. I will make, here's something that I think is going to be great. Think of this. And I just made a decision to do it a little bit differently, because I'm only going to do it if they build that particular product, namely an automobile, in the United States. Listen to this. I will make interest on car loans fully tax deductible, because affording a car is essential to restoring the American. So I had calls from the biggest people in Wall Street. Where did you come up with these ideas? The no tax on tips? Who gave that to you? Actually, it was a waitress at Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. I didn't pay a consultant $5 million to come up with the idea. A waitress said, it's terrible the way they're treating us with tips. And a lot of them, a lot of people don't report those tips anyway, really, I guess. It's a kind of a weird kind of a thing. How do you tax it? Somebody puts $5 in their pocket, let's see. But she gave me the idea. But they said, how did you come up with this thing on deductibility of interest on automobiles? I said, it was just an idea I had, but I had a better idea, because here's what I'm doing. I want it to benefit, I don't want it to benefit other countries. I want it to benefit us. So its deductibility of interest is great, but only if the car is manufactured in the United States. Is that a great idea? Why the hell would we give them taxes if they manufacture the car in China or Japan or lots of other places that stole our business over the years? Mexico is a very big threat. I'm telling you, it's a big threat. So we're doing that now, and I think that's going to be great for Detroit. And we're leading in Michigan, by the way, by good margin, because of the cars. Because of the brilliant mandate that next week you're going to be forced to drive all electric. Everybody's going to have an electric car. They don't go far. They cost too much. And by the way, they're great. You know what? They're great. And Elon makes the best of them, as far as I'm concerned. But, and he'll be the first to admit, it's a certain market, and it's a certain market for certain things, but you have to have gasoline powered. Here we have more gasoline, we have more oil and gas, we have more liquid gold than anybody in the world, and we're trying to go all electric. So we want that. We want hybrids. We don't want hydrogen cars. We don't want hydrogen. Would anybody like a hydrogen car? You know what a hydrogen car? It's a great car. It's a wonderful car, except if it happens to explode, then you are unrecognizable. They said they have it down. They don't think more than 10 or 20 will explode a year, but if it does, you're gonzo. So we told them, let's not spend a lot of money on that. That's one of those things, no matter how good it is, you don't want it. But other than that, they said it works quite well. On day one of the Trump administration, I will terminate Kamala's insane electric vehicle mandate, and we will end the Green New scam once and for all. You know, the Green New scam is terrible. You know whose idea that was, right? AOC, young girl, very nice person. She never even studied the environment in college. Average student at best. She was an average student. She walked in one day, she said, we're going to all be dead in 12 years because the oceans are rising. Well, it's been more than 12 years. What's going on? No, we have a much bigger threat. We have a threat called nuclear weapons and having stupid people running our country. And if you talk about global warming, that's the real global warming, not this nonsense of the ocean's going to rise over the next 400 years by 1/8 of an inch and we're going to be wiped out. No, we have a threat right now and we better get smart because we're very close to World War III. If you take a look at what's going on, we're very close. So we have a couple of different areas, but we'll have more than that. And you can look at the size, look at the teams. They're already being divided up. You see what's going on with Iran and Russia and China, and now other countries are adding into that group, North Korea. No. We have very stupid people letting this happen. That should have never happened. Now they want to attack our dollar. They want to take our dollar away from us. They want to take our dollar and not have that be the standard any longer. That would be like losing a world war. Then we would be indeed third world status. And if I'm elected, they're not doing that. I guarantee you that. No chance. Just like Russia would have never attacked Ukraine. Zero. By the way, zero. Even a Democrat congressman was on television. And many Democrats are saying that. And by the way, for 4 years they didn't. So, you know, it's not like, oh, gee, they won't. For 4 years they didn't. I think what happened was when Putin saw how weak we were, how pathetic we were, with the stupid Milley and these generals that aren't even generals as far as I was concerned. What a stupid group of people they were. Mattis, Milley. You know, the real ones, the ones that I used to defeat ISIS. We defeated ISIS. They were the real generals. They were the real generals. They weren't the television generals. They weren't the dumb ones. They were the ones that were warriors. But we'll quickly become energy independent, and we will frack, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill. And I will cut, in 12 months from January 20th, that's the day we take office, I will cut your energy prices by 50%, 50%, within 1 year. And we can do it. No other country can say, very few countries can say it, but no other country can say that. We have more liquid gold. We're going to drill. Your prices are going to come down. Then everything else is going to start coming down, too, because you're paying too much. You know what people tell me mostly? Groceries. The simple word groceries. I say, what do you mean? The overall effect of bacon and lettuce and all of this stuff is the biggest, the worst we've ever had. We've never had anything like it. How about interest rates? When I was president, think of this, when I was president, interest was 2.2%. Now it's 10% and you can't get any money, so it's much higher than 10%. And I have really good news because I keep hearing people say $2.50, $2.25 a gallon. So the other day I'm looking at some things and some statistics. So we had $1.84 a gallon. That was the real price that you had, $1.84. Compared to now it's about $4, but it was up to $5. In California it was $7 and $8. We were at $1.84 and everybody was happy. It was nice to drive to Washington, D.C., but the problem with Washington, D.C., is too dangerous. We're going to clean that city up, and we're going to make it greater. We're going to make it safe so you can go down And you can see the Washington Monument. You can go see Honest Abe, and you can see Thomas Jefferson. They wanted to rip that down. Remember, they wanted to rip down the Thomas Jefferson? And I said, that's not going to happen. Remember, I passed that law, the old law that was, they came into town, they wanted to rip down our statues, and I said, well, do they have a point? You know, a couple of them were a little rough, then I said, well, now I heard they want to rip down Honest Abe Lincoln. Now you're getting a little bit nasty. And I went out, and we were tough. I said, give me that law, I want to sign it immediately. We took it, it was an old law from early 1900s. And it basically said that if you so much as look at or touch any monument anywhere in the country, federal monument, anywhere in the country, you get immediately 10 years in jail with no early getting out stuff. And I signed it with a news conference. Remember, I said, anybody that wants to play games with me, you can play games, but it's not going to work out well. And we had a lot of people in Washington. They were having a lot of fun thinking about which statue they're going to take down. And as soon as I signed it, I watched the backs of those people. I don't want to use the word asses. I watched the backs of those people leaving town. They all left town very nicely. We had no problem. But just recently, a month ago, they were in Washington, and they're spray painting beautiful limestone lions and doing tremendous damage, fighting with the police. And by the way, nothing happened to those people. You know, when you spray paint over limestone, you'll see it in 100 years from now, because limestone's a very porous. I was really good at real estate and building. Limestone's very porous stone. And that stuff goes right into that. You can't get it out unless you want to do it with a chisel, and that's not going to work. And you're going to see that in 100 years from now. And it's very, very sad. And nothing happened to those people, nothing. I watched it very closely, and they did great destruction, and they had fistfights with our cops, right? They had fistfights. They were rolling on the grass and fighting our police. Nothing happened to them. Under Kamala's economy, millions of Americans are suffering because of inflation. They're losing their jobs. You can't afford housing, groceries, or a car. And yet Kamala is importing millions of illegals across our borders and giving them taxpayer benefits at your expense, while taking the jobs from African Americans and from Hispanic Americans at levels that we have not seen. You're going to see reports coming out very soon. They're trying to hold it until after the election. Hopefully it won't matter, because we're going to win by so much. But let them give you the reports of what's happening to our African-American population, our Hispanic population. They are taking the jobs of our African-Americans and Hispanic Americans, and it's tremendous numbers. And they're going to release these numbers sometime after the election, and everyone's going to be upset, and nothing they can do. You're going to have to wait 4 more years. And I'm not sure we can wait 4 more years, because I don't know that we'll have a country in 4 more years. So you ought to start looking at that, to the fake news media. Show them what's happening to the black population and to the Hispanic population with these people that are coming into our country illegally. You are witnessing the economic oppression of Americans to reward and enrich illegal aliens. It's just like, you know, they come into hotels and they stay in hotels, in luxury hotels, paid for by the government, and they walk past our veterans who are sleeping on the street right in front of that hotel. But all of that stops 2 weeks from tonight. It all stops. For 4 straight years, Kamala Harris has imported an army of illegal alien gang members and migrant criminals from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions all around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo. Not just South America, this is all over the world. We're the dumping ground for the whole world to put their criminals into. And she has resettled them into your communities to prey upon innocent Americans, and that's what they're doing. You just take a look at what's going on in Colorado. Take a look at what's going on there. They're taking over They're in the real estate business like I am. The only difference is I go out and borrow nice money from a bank. They do it with guns. You see what's going on in Aurora? But it's not just Aurora. It's hundreds of communities. They don't want to talk about it because they don't want to destroy the reputation of the community, and they better start talking about it because they won't have a community. When I win on November 5th, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. It's going to begin. One of the deadliest and most vicious migrant gang that Kamala has imported into our country. She's let them just come in. Remember, she's a stupid person. Open borders. Open borders. As soon as I saw it, I said, well, wait a minute. I know the world. I know many of the leaders of the world, other than the ones that were changed, not that many. I know them. They're smart. They're streetwise, very streetwise people. I said, wait a minute, they're going to let all their prisoners out into our country. When you have open borders, there's no check-in, there's no vetting. And very importantly, Border Patrol, they're phenomenal. They endorsed me last week with the strongest endorsement that you've ever seen. Unanimous. Unanimous. And in the endorsement, they said she is so bad, there's never been anybody bad. That by itself should cause her. Thousands of people voted for me, unanimous endorsement of the Border Patrol because we had the safest border. Bring down my favorite chart. I love this chart. I sleep with this chart. I kiss this chart every night. I love it. I love this chart. Isn't that a beautiful? Every night I roll it up and I kiss it because I wouldn't be here right now without that chart. I look to my right, bing. I said, what the hell happened? But look at that arrow on the bottom. That's when I left office. That's the day I left office right there. That's the lowest we've ever had. This was done by Border Patrol, by the way. And look what happened after I left. There was an explosion, like one of Elon's rocket ships. Look at that. How good is Elon, by the way? Is he good? You know, here's a guy. Oh, you talk about, he is so smart. We're inside, beautiful place, beautiful arena, packed, nice, probably 71 degrees. We finally have air conditioning. Some of these things don't have air conditioning. It's brutal. Congratulations to the people who own this place, whoever the hell owns it. We appreciate the air conditioning. But it's like 71 degrees. It's beautiful. Elon is right now in Pennsylvania politicking because he thinks this is the most important election in history, and he says we won't have a country. How cool is that? And he's registering voters. He's an amazing guy. How cool was the rocket ship that landed the other day, right? I never saw it. I told the show, I don't want to, if you heard it, just turn off your ears for a second. I'm talking to a very important guy, and I have the no sound on the television muted. And I'm looking at the television talking to this guy. Very important, but quite boring, to be honest with you. I hope he doesn't watch me say this, because he'll be able to figure out who it is. But anyway, I said, wait a minute, would you hold on, please, just for a second? Because I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing this 20-story, huge tube pouring down and fire's pouring out of it. And it used to be white, but the heat is thousands of degrees coming down. They say thousands and thousands. So it's been beat up in that trip down. And I see this massive tube is coming down and the fire's burning and it's exploding all over. Guy, stand up. I love this guy. Comes to so many of these. And he's a very successful guy, but he likes these rallies. He's had a lot of them. We have the ladies from North Carolina here, too. Would you stand up? I call them the beautiful ladies from North Carolina, and you're not allowed to call ladies beautiful anymore. It's the end of your political career. If you say, aren't they beautiful, that's the end of your political career, but who cares? You are beautiful. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. They've come to, what number is this, like 230 or 240 or something? And they're happily married, because I've met their husbands. Their husbands are really nice. I don't know how the hell they put up with this stuff. But at least here we're in North Carolina. How long a trip was this? Pretty short, right? Well, that's a long time, 2.5 hours. That's like short compared to Texas, California. Thank you very much. It's a great honor. It's always nice to see them. They're always so brightly dressed. They got plenty of cash, you know. They're so brightly and beautifully dressed all the time and coiffed. They're beautifully coiffed. Thank you very much. Great honor. Thank you. And we have our front row jacks. We have our front row Jacks and Joes. Thank you very much. What happened? You're not in the front row. Whoa. These must be very powerful people in the front. Look at these people. Who are these people? They kept the wall back there. Wow. We got to figure this out. That young man must be a very powerful guy. But we appreciate it. We've had a lot of rallies, and we're going to have our biggest of all at Madison Square Garden. We're going to make a play for New York. Hasn't been one in many, many decades, but with what's going on in New York between the illegal migrants and the crime they're causing and hurting people so badly and all of the problems in New York, we're going to give it a hell of a shot. So we took Madison Square Garden. We filled it up. Because we're sort of wrapping it up. You know that, right? We've been doing this now for long time. We had 2 unbelievable elections. We had 2. But we are. I didn't even think of it. I was being interviewed by a very good person today, actually, and that person said, when you did Madison Square Garden, it's in a week, they said, is that sort of wrapping it all up, right? And I said, I never thought of it that way, but I guess you could. It's sort of wrap it. We have a few days left after that, but we sort of are. When you think we've been doing it from 2015, and now we're where we are. So we're, talking about 9 years, almost 10 years by the time we do it. And there's something, and think of what we've done. This is the greatest movement in political history. I mean, there's never been anything like that. The greatest movement in political history. And I know, oh, look, there's Uncle Sam back there. Look at that guy. He shook my hand. This guy's got the hardest handshake. My hand is still recovering from his handshake. Uncle Sam, how are you? And I have no idea who he is, I promise you. Somebody says, oh, do you pay these people? I don't pay them. I don't pay the wall. I don't pay Uncle Sam. But they're incredible patriots. And you know what? They're very smart people. They're incredible people. But this is like a football game to some. They come in, these guys, they're accountants. They head accounting firms, law firms, and they got the name of some football player in the back. I don't know if I could do that. Well, maybe Lawrence Taylor. He's my friend. I'll come in with a Lawrence Taylor. These are all guys. We have a lot of endorsements from athletes, that I can tell you. But thank you, Uncle Sam. But it's sort of interesting. I never thought of it. It's sort of we're wrapping it up. We're wrapping up something that has been incredible. There's never been anything like this. The rallies, the size of them, the enthusiasm. And we have more enthusiasm now than we did for 2016 or 2020. But we really started in 2015, about a year before, a little less than a year before. We started in 2015, and it's been really amazing. It's been great. It's been great to be with you, and now we want to close it out with a beautiful bang, and we want to straighten out the country, and we're going to thank you, darling. I pray for you too. Thank you. Yeah. But it's been like a movement of love, and it's like, when we first started, there used to be like some fights, and there were problems where you have fight, not much, but we had some. It's been, and I don't want to jinx it by saying, but it's been like love. It's been like amazing. It is, and you know what? The people back there, when I say things, if I'm a little bit off, they'll go headlines. And I don't mean to be a little bit off, but this is the single greatest political movement in the history of our country. There's never been anything like that. And if it wasn't, if it were just slightly behind some other movement that nobody could even come close to talking about, they would have headlines. I have to be very careful when I say things. But he said that, and he said, is this wrapping it up? And I never thought of it. I didn't think of it that way. We're in the heart of battle, and we have to win our country. And then we're going to have 4 great years, and that's a different kind of a battle. But for what we're doing, for the campaigning, this will be, we're pretty much, we're 14 days from sort of wrapping it up. And we're going to have different kinds of get-togethers, and hopefully it's going to be get-togethers of success. We're going to base it on success. We're going to have great success with this country. We're going to bring back our businesses. We're going to stop crime in the streets. We're going to close up our borders. We're going to let people come in to our country. But we need people to take all these jobs that we're going to be creating a lot of jobs just by the use of very smart use of tariffs, taxes, and incentives. Just like I told you, just come up with one. And literally, I did it with a friend of mine who's a great business person. I said, what do you think of the idea, like the idea of the deduction for a car, interest deduction for a car? But then I said, but to get it, you have to build the car in the United States. Who would think of that? You know, it sounds simple, like the paperclip. It's very simple. Somebody came up 129 years ago or something. They came up with the paperclip. Then other people looked at it and they said, how the hell come, why didn't I think of this idea? And now you'll have everybody come out and say, we're going to deduct interest, but you know what? It doesn't have the same ring. No, that's a big deal. We're going to make so many cars in Detroit with that. That's going to be so big. But I said, wait a minute, if I do this, what are we going to do? Make more cars in China? You know, China, I put a tariff on Chinese, 27.5%. And because of that, they're not flooding our country. They're destroying Europe. They're just flooding Europe with cars. But we've kept our car companies, but it's a fraction of what it used to be. We had the glory days. We were making everybody's cars. The Cadillac was the most beautiful. My father having a Cadillac, he'd get a Cadillac every 2 years. That was his definition of luxury. I just want a Cadillac every 2 years. That was, and today, you know, they don't talk so much about that. We're going to take care of our military better. We're going to take care of our military better than anybody. You know, with our military, we took care of our veterans better than anybody has ever taken care. We took care of our veterans. We got a 92% approval rating, and now it's back down to 44 or 43. We did choice. We had choice, so if a person had to wait, one of our great, because I call them heroes, one of our great heroes had to wait for a doctor. They could go out. If they had to wait more than 1 day, they go out and they get a doctor, we pay the bill. And in the end, it was not only was it good for them, it was also even efficient, because some of these people were dying. They'd wait for 4, 5, 6, 7 months. And we have great doctors in the VA, but the problem was the administration. And our guys did a fantastic job. We did another thing in the VA. We got rid of all the sadists and the sickos or wackos. You couldn't fire them because of civil service laws. And I got this all passed. We got this all passed in Congress. It was an amazing thing to get it passed in Congress. They were trying for 58 years for one and for 54 years for the other. And it worked out great. And now I understand that as of like yesterday, they're trying to get rid of, they call it choice. We have a choice of going outside, getting a doctor. And I understand that they're trying to end that program. They don't like that program, that this group of people that have no idea what they're doing don't like it. So they'll go back to waiting, but we'll get it back. We'll get it back so fast your head will spin. They want to end it. They don't like it for some reason. I don't know why, but they don't like it. People were getting instant care, and it wasn't very expensive when you take into the fact that, and just take a look at this. You have a guy, he gets sicker, then he becomes terminally ill, and they have to take care. In the end, I think it's probably cost effective, but I don't even care about the cost in that case. We take care of our people. Who would want to wait months to get, in some cases, a simple pill or a simple shot? And it was a terrible thing, but we had a 92% approval rating, the highest ever. The people that I had there did a fantastic job. We're going to bring it all back. We're going to bring it back fast. Make America great again. And one other thing, I mean, isn't it nice to have a president that doesn't have to read these stupid teleprompters, isn't it? sort of interesting. I haven't looked at him in the last 15 minutes. It's like interesting, but it's, I just do what we have to do. But we did another program, Right to Try. It's the greatest thing. For 51 years, they've been trying to get it because we have the best doctors, the best lab technicians, the best labs, the best everything. And nobody could get it done. We would have something that really looked good for a certain disease or problem. It really looked good, but they couldn't do anything because the FDA wouldn't be able to approve it for years. I got that number way down, by the way, but they wouldn't be able to approve it for years. And what would happen was terrible. They would go to Asia, they'd go to Europe, they'd go all over, if they had money. Most of them didn't have money. They'd go home and they'd die. They'd die. So I said, we got to do something about this. And they've been trying for 50 years. They couldn't get it done because the doctors didn't want it because of the liability. The insurance companies certainly didn't want it. The labs didn't want it. Nobody wanted it, but nobody, everybody, they knew it was good, but they didn't want it. I got everybody into a room and I said, listen, we're going to sign an agreement. There's not going to be any liability to anybody. If somebody's terminally ill, they're going to sign a document that they're not going to sue the insurance company, they're not their family. They're not going to sue anybody. They're not going to sue the doctor, the lab. They're not going to sue anybody. Everything's going to be fine, and we're going to try it and see how it works. It's been so successful. We have saved thousands and thousands of lives with this new medicine. It's a new age. I call it New Age medicine, but we've saved thousands of people. People don't write about it. It's called Right to Try. A lot of people know. I hope nobody needs it, to be honest with you. But it's been so. I've never read anything about it. They don't want to write about it, and if they don't, that's okay. The fact is that thousands of people have been saved. Their lives have been saved, and many were terminal, and now they're actually okay. They're not even terminal. It's not like they have to even go. It literally cured. And even the doctors now and the medical, the medical companies, the labs, they're really happy they did it, because when you can cure somebody when they're that sick, it really shows it worked. It sort of worked out the opposite. It really shows that it works. So Right to Try, it's been a great thing, and we're honored to have done it. One of the deadliest and most vicious migrant gangs that Kamala has imported into our country, the savage Venezuelan prison gang. They form in the Venezuelan prisons. It's called Tren de Aragua. That's taking over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent terror spree in our country. Let's take a look. Take a look at this.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America.
It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about. Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
Two men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
That's what's happening. These are the people we're letting in. And you remember where she was saying that they don't commit crimes like our people. Really? These are worse than anybody. They make our criminals look like they're nice people. These are rough, horrible people. They could not be allowed to stay in our country. The United States is now an occupied country, in effect. But on November 5th, 2024, we will have a thing called Liberation Day. We're going to have Liberation Day. In the last year alone, over 70,000 illegal aliens from China have crossed our border. You know about that. Many of them military-aged men, 70,000 in a year. Over 70,000. That's getting to be Army territory. And that's the equivalent of over 14 brigades or 5 Army divisions of Chinese illegals that have penetrated our country. Again, these are military-aged, mostly men, almost all men. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that nice? Under borders, O'Hara, she has no idea. The woman doesn't have a clue. Again, she's sleeping now while I'm working my ass off. Under borders, Harris, there have been at least 2 million gotaways. That's gotaways. They come through and nobody knows where the hell they're from. And that's, by the way, nobody has any idea. The number, if they think it's 2 million, it's probably 5 times that amount. 2 million gotaways from all over the world who charged the border and disappeared into the United States. They could be living right next to you in North Carolina, a lovely house, little cabin right next to you. More than the entire active duty force of the United States military. This is the kind of numbers we're talking about, and they're rough. They're rough people. Who would have allowed this to happen? Who would have allowed this to happen? The only good thing coming from this crime against our country is if you happen to be the person that's running against the idiots that allowed it to take place. That's me. I'm running against them. It's good to run against it, but I'd rather not be running against it, and I'd rather not have it happen. Immediately upon taking the oath of office, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. We have no idea. We have no choice. It's not sustainable. I will rescue every town across America that's been invaded and conquered. They're conquering. They are conquering towns. And these fools, these stupid people back there, the media, they're going to say, oh, he used the word conquer. The governor of Colorado, he's a radical left Democrat. He's petrified he doesn't know what to do. And we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in a jail or kick them the hell out of our country as fast as we can. And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage gangs, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. 1790, you know why? That's when we had real politicians, real people that knew what to do, not these weak, woke fools. So I have to go back to 1798, can you believe it? But it's a strong one. Think of it, Alien Enemies Act of 1798, and they used it to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil to make our people safe. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I am hereby calling for the death penalty. And we have to do this. I'm calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or an law enforcement officer. You kill an American citizen or a law enforcement officer, you get the death penalty. And we'll get that approved, too, because Congress is going to approve it. They're feeling the way you are. I will end catch and release. Thank you. To ask this man in the black, are you the man that I met yesterday or not? That's a pretty, you're just as good. No, I met some great people yesterday. I saw the devastation. It was incredible. He just said, no, you didn't meet me, but I love you, man. Thank you. That's cool. You're very cool. You're very cool. Thank you. I will end. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I will end all migrant flights. You know, they fly in by plane. They come in. You know, we only learned that like less than a year ago. They said, we're going to start closing up the border a little bit. Well, all they have to do, she could walk into the White House, say, wake Biden up. I want him to sign something. And all he has to do is say, close the border. He doesn't need a bill. The bill was so horrible. You know, he says, Donald Trump called the Senate, said, don't pass it. It's wonderful. I wish I could do that, okay? It's not that easy. But the truth is, I had nothing to do with it, and I would be proud to do it because it was such a bad bill. But he doesn't need a bill. I didn't have a bill. I closed the border. I had the safest border. You see it. I had the safest border in the history of our country. We now have the worst border in the history of the world, maybe in the history of the world. And again, it's the number one thing to campaign on. I mean, I think the inflation is horrible. The economy, everything. We have a lot of bad things. The number, when you see those killers, those guys that have military-style weapons. I mean, people are saying, where the hell do people coming out of Venezuela, young thugs that are tough as hell, by the way, where do they get this equipment? But I think it's the number one thing, and we're going to have it fixed. You know, I fixed it in 2016. I fixed it. I did it so good I couldn't talk about it for the next election. My people said, sir, they don't want to hear about the border. I said, what do you mean you don't want to hear? I did such a great job. I fixed it. We had the best border. But that border was 5% of what it is now. That border was bad. It was really bad, but it wasn't very tough for me to fix. That border was nothing compared to the mess you have now. We don't have a border. And I built hundreds of miles of wall. I built much more than I said I was going to build. Then we added 200, and they didn't want to put up the slats. And you know what they did? Many of them were sold for 5 cents on the dollar. It's just so sold. I will outlaw sanctuary cities immediately, and I will ban all welfare and federal benefits for illegals. We are running against the most radical, most incompetent, most unfit vice president running for president. Can you believe it? In the history of our country, she's totally unfit for office. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously, and something is clearly wrong with her. Something is wrong with her. Something's wrong with her, and something's wrong with this vice president. He is off. She can't put two sentences together. How about 60 Minutes? Was that the greatest? You know, we're probably going to sue him just for the hell of it. Listen. 60 Minutes, she interviews. She was so bad. She gave an answer. This never happened to me. Why does it happen? She gave an answer that was so bad that they changed it. They took it out, threw it out. They didn't like edit a little bit, take a word out. No. They took the entire, it was a long, stupid, she didn't know where the hell she was going. Does she drink? Is she on drugs? I don't know. I have no idea. She writes 60 Minutes, you know, big 60 Minutes CBS. You know, they have to be licensed by the federal government. They should take their license away. What they did, CBS, and they're all bad. How about David Muir? How bad is he? How bad is he? I said, crime is going up. And he said, no, it's not. It's going down. I said, it's going up. He said, crime is going down. Next question. The next day, they released the numbers. Crime's up 45% in our country. I don't watch him anymore. Pretty boy, little pretty boy he is. So they think it. She gives this horrible answer. They take every word of it and they throw it away and they insert another answer. That's called election interference, and it's called fraud. And they should have their life. And you know, all the other guys back there are sticking up for them. You know why? Because they do the same thing probably. They don't do it for me. You know what they do with me? They make my answer worse. They write. No, they take out, like if I give, because I do the weave. You know the weave? I'll tell a story and I'll go from here being, it's actually genius, I have to say. And fair and smart people say it's total genius. But they say, oh, he wandered. I didn't wander. Wander is when you don't get back to the same point. No, I give the wave. They don't do anything for me. What they do with me is I give a beautiful paragraph, and they'll take some of the primary sentences out. And that's terrible to do. But that you can sort of get away with. You know, I can even understand it. They want to make it a little shorter. They want a little more time. You know, they don't pay anything for their license. They have a license that's worth billions of dollars. They don't pay anything. Neither does NBC fake news. And ABC fake news is really one of the worst, I will tell you. ABC, but this is CBS. They don't pay for, they use our airwaves. They don't pay anything. And then you hear that 60 Minutes, which is a news show, it's under their news division. So they're not allowed. This isn't an entertainment show. But they took the sentence, not the sentence, they took a whole paragraph, big paragraph, just word after word. That was like the 32 that I listened to, you know, 32, with the teleprompter where she basically choked and froze like a dog. But that was like the 32. They took it out and they inserted a new answer that was more rational. Wasn't great, but it was, at least you don't say, what's wrong with this person? Where did you ever hear them doing that? That's called election. This is an election. We're in the middle of an election. She gave a horrible answer on a news show that pays nothing for the airwaves that are worth billions of dollars. And the other networks stick up because they don't want it to happen to them either. They don't want to see a bidding contest for who's going to do the news. But there has to be some kind of justice in this country. You can't take her answer out, insert a new answer, and say, this is called major election interference fraud. So we'll see what happens. I actually think it's the biggest scandal in broadcast history. I really believe that. I think it's the biggest scandal. Nobody's seen anything like it. And people are furious about it. And they all come out with some answer. Well, we did this because of that. And that. No, they took the answer out. They put a new answer in. There's nothing. There's no justification. So we're probably going to take them to court. Should I take them to court? Okay. So we've asked them. We sent them a letter yesterday. We've asked for the entire transcript. And we want to see, did they do it in other places too? And we'll see what happens, but good. So I have your permission, right? Who would think of these things? I mean, who would think? And it was a mistake. They made a mistake. That's how everybody found them. They made a mistake. They put out the original answer. Somehow somebody saw the original answer, said, that's not the answer she gave. And when they went back, they feel it was, you know, they found out it was a fraud. It was a fraud on the American public, and they should pay a big price for it. And if they do pay a big price, it won't happen anymore. She's an international joke, and she's going to end up getting us into World War III, and Kamala is in free fall. You know, she's in free fall with Arab and Muslim voters. Now, in Michigan, did you notice that my poll numbers are very good with the Arab voters? Did you see that? My poll numbers are very good. I appreciate it. You know why? You know why they're? Because I want peace in the Middle East. I want peace. I did the Abraham Accords. I want peace in the Middle East. So it's very simple. It's not, I want to see peace in the Middle East. But my poll numbers in Michigan are very good with they were supposed to, I was supposed to be 0, she was supposed to be 100. Now I'm beating her because they see how bad she is. But they don't like or respect her. She's sent their overseas, I mean, you take a look. She's sent their jobs overseas. She's brought in crime to the cities. She's taken in all of this tremendous fire. She's okay with it that took place in the Middle East. But you ask yourself, why would Muslims support Lion Kamala Harris when she embraces Muslim-hating and very dumb person Liz Cheney, a dumb person, who, by the way, lost for Congress in the biggest margin in the history of politics. She lost by almost 40 points. The reason she has that honor is that most people wouldn't have stayed in. A congressperson that's in that position normally retires before the election, which would have been a good idea for her to do. But Liz Cheney's a total loser. But her father brought years of war and death to the Middle East. He killed many Arabs, many Arabs and Muslims. And now Lion Kamala has embraced Liz Cheney. She embraced her. And why would a Muslim or why would an Arab want to vote for somebody that has Liz Cheney as her hero? Liz Cheney is a totally failed politician. Again, she set the worst record. I think it's a terrible mistake that she's made. I think it's a great insult to Muslims all over the world, and I think that she's going to do very bad in Michigan. I really do. I think she's going to do very badly. To do that was a bad thing, and I was very surprised to see it. But in one way, I was happy, because you have to understand, I'm competing against her. I'm competing against this stupid person. I think we are winning by a lot. I have a feeling we're winning by a lot.
Are they friends or foe?
But this person cannot be president. By the way, is there any place better to be than a Trump rally? And don't get used to this, because it's only going to go on for another 2 weeks, isn't it? It's really something. It's only going to go on in 4 years, you'll be having rallies of 100 people, 200 people. Mr. Wall will be doing other things. Front row Joes are going to be doing, oh, these guys are boring as hell. We got two more weeks together with our big, we had 101,000 people in Butler. Think of that. We had 107,000 people in New Jersey. We're making a move for New Jersey, too. And 2 weeks ago in California, we had 109,000 people. So don't get too used to this. What are you going to do, Mr. Wall, when you come to a rally and there's like 150 people? What are you going to do? Oh. You like, right? You like, that's very good. That's good. Good man, I'll tell you that. When the people of North Carolina were stranded and drowning in Hurricane Helene, Kamala Harris was at a glitzy fundraiser in the city that she destroyed, San Francisco. She spent the last 4 years taking your money to provide shelter and benefits to illegal aliens, but when North Carolina needed help, Kamala Harris was nowhere to be found. They spent your money. They're going to probably have to call an emergency meeting, a special session of Congress, because the illegal migrants, many of them killers, many of them drug dealers, many of them released from prison, have taken the money that they were supposed to spend in North Carolina and Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee and Florida and South Carolina. The money was supposed to be spent in those states, and they don't have the money now. They don't have the money because they've spent think of it, hundreds of millions of dollars they've spent flying migrants into states all over the country and letting them go through your porous wall. Kamala Harris does not have the compassion, the smarts, or the strength to be president of the United States. She can't do the job. She's not mentally or physically able to do the job. And on top of all of it, she says she would not do anything differently. She would not do anything differently, she said, than crooked Joe Biden, which is disqualifying. When you see this tape, you're going to say she's disqualified. He's the worst president. 85% wrong direction. What would you do differently? Well, I can't think of anything now. Let's take a look.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
Not get national is custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Background checking details of the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022. 2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
The cost of homes have spiked. Home buyers need to earn 80% more than they did in 2020 to afford a house.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
So, North Carolina, if you want to end this disaster, you must go out. Just go out and vote. We got to win this. We got to get this thing. We're pleased to be joined tonight by some really great people, and one of them I'm very proud of. He's done a great job as your senator, Ted Budd. Where is Ted? Ted. Thank you, Ted. You're doing a great job. He's doing a great job. Proud of you, Ted. Really good. Congresswoman Virginia Fox, a warrior. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you. Congressman Dan Bishop. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. A man who's been really fantastic. All I know is they had more people show up in the last 4 days than in 2016 or 2020. And many of these people lost their homes. They lost everything. And we had more people. We set a record. Can you believe that? That shows enthusiasm. That shows North Carolina GOP Chair Jason Simmons. Thank you, Jason. Great job. How are we doing, Jason? We're going to win the state big, I hope. 3 times in a row, right? Jason's great. A great friend of mine and really a friend of my boy, Don Addison McDowell. He's going to do a fantastic job. Thank you, Addison. Oh, you're looking better and better. Look at you. Looks like a real congressman. He's going to be fantastic. Somebody that I've got a lot of respect for. I have for a long time. From the day I met him, I respected him. He was a very successful businessman. He was a great senator. He's a very special guy, David Perdue. David? Thank you. Thank you, David. Thanks. One of the biggest and best developers around, a man who's made a lot of money, and he's very generous, including with North Carolina. He writes a check for everything. He's just a great person, a very generous man. Steve Witkoff. Steve, thank you for the help. Thank you. And Peter Navarro, I hope you heard from him. This guy is great. They say threat to democracy. They're a threat to democracy. Nobody would have done what they did to him. Nobody would have done what they did to Peter Navarro. He fought for our country so hard. I was witness to it for 4 years. That guy fought harder than anybody I know. And then they did what they did to him. They're a bunch of bad people. They weaponized the Justice Department. They weaponized the FBI. And I've had more investigations than any human being, including Alphonse Capone, the meanest, Scarface. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. They even raided my house, a little place on the beach called Mar-a-Lago. No, but think of it, they raided my house. Can you believe this is the scum that we have to deal with? This is the scum. What they did to him and other of our friends and friends of the people in this room, it's a disgrace. And Peter, you're going to go down as a hero. You watch. Thank you. And we also have former Democrat Congresswoman and 2020 Democratic presidential candidate, a woman that everybody loves. I watched her years ago where she just had so much common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense. I like to say it because it's true. Like, we don't want men playing in women's sports. We want to have borders. We want to have fair elections. You know, little things like that, common sense, right? But she's here tonight, and I'm going to just ask her to come up and say a couple of words. Tulsi Gabbard.
You know, I was a Democrat for over 20 years. Today's Democrat, thank you. Today's Democrat Party is completely unrecognizable, which points to the clear choice that we have in this election today. When you look at the party of Kamala Harris, for example, she is anti-freedom, she is pro-censorship, she is pro-open borders, and she is pro-war. Without even pretending to care about peace, as President Trump talked about, she has shamelessly embraced the endorsement and support of warmongers like Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney and others who care more about power and feeding the military-industrial complex than they care about you, the American people, and peace. President Trump has pledged to end wars, not start them. And this is why, in the eyes of the Kamala Harris-Dick Cheney Democrat Party, they will do everything possible to try to destroy him. You'll see how they have weaponized the federal government. They have weaponized law enforcement, the Department of Justice. They have done everything possible to try to silence him, to try to remove him from the ballot, so we the people don't even have the choice to who we want to vote for. Why have they done this? Because this man has the courage to take them on and root out the deep rot of corruption in the swamp in Washington. Now, voters have made their voices heard loud and clear, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the last 3 presidential elections, nominating this man to be the Republican nominee for president because of his commitment to these fundamental American principles of freedom and peace and prosperity. USA. Now, to those of you here or those watching at home who are independent-minded people like myself, who love our country and are committed to the Constitution and to freedom, the Democrat Party has no home for people like us. But we do have a home in the Republican Party where we are welcomed with open arms by President Trump and so many of you who love our country. And it is because of my love for our country, and specifically because of the leadership that President Trump has brought to transform the Republican Party and bring it back to the party of the people and the party of peace, that I'm proud to stand here with you today, President Trump, and announce that I'm joining the Republican Party. I'm joining the party of the people, the party of equality, the party that was founded to fight against and end slavery in this country. It is the party of common sense, and the party that is led by a president who has the courage and strength to fight for peace. So, as we stand here today, we have 14 days until the most historic election of our lives. And my message to my fellow Americans, regardless of your political affiliation, now is the time for us to stand together to save our country. There is nothing less than that that's on the line. A vote for President Trump is a vote for a big open tent party that welcomes people from all backgrounds and all walks of life. A vote for President Trump is a vote to express our deep love for our country and our appreciation for our God-given rights and freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. A vote for President Trump is a vote for secure borders and safe communities, and a vote for President Trump is a vote for peace here in America and around the world. I'm looking forward to casting my vote for President Trump because you are our best and only hope in this election to lead our country toward a future where every one of us can live in a truly free, peaceful, and prosperous nation. Every single vote will count. This is our opportunity to vote for freedom, to vote for peace, to vote for America, and vote for President Trump to go back to the White House and make America great again. Thank you so much.
I didn't know that. Thank you very much. Tulsi, that's great. Wow, that was a surprise. That was really, she's been independent for a long time. That's a great thing, a great honor. Thank you very much, Tulsi. And what a beautiful speech you made, right? Wasn't that beautiful? You know, I'd like to also honor somebody who really has gone through a lot, and I hope he's going to really be helping us a lot. He's got some tremendous ideas and for making us healthy and well, and that's RFK Jr. He's a very special guy, and I just want to thank him because he sort of came in at the same time as Tulsi, and he's got some incredible thing on your health, on women's health and all of the different elements. I may have to fight him a little bit on the environment because we have to run this country so well, but that's okay. But he's really an outstanding guy, and it was not an easy decision for him, certainly. But RFK Jr., thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So here are the facts on Kamala, just in wrapping it up. Oh, you thought he was here? No, he wasn't. I was wondering. I said, no, he is here in spirit, I can guarantee you he's here. And I'll bring him to the next one, but you won't be. He's great. He's got some really incredible ideas, and he's so committed, it's incredible. So thank you very much to Bobby. But here are the facts on Kamala Harris. She's a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas. She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of defund the police movement, and anybody who wants to defund the police, even for a day or a week, is not worthy of being president of the United States. Can't be. Kamala Harris vowed to abolish ICE. These are great, powerful people, strong people, because that's their job. They have to get some of the worst gang members and drug dealers and everything else out of our country. I know a lot of great, tough people right here, but they don't want that job. But she wants to get rid of them. She wants to take them out. We're not taking them out. We're going to make them bigger and stronger because we have a lot of work to do in cleaning up our country and making our country safe. She vowed repeatedly to ban fracking as California Attorney General. You know this. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as a totally nonviolent crime. Think of that. And she pledged, now she's so far left, she pledged to confiscate your guns and endorsed a total ban on handgun ownership. You know, as soon as that comes up, she will literally, guaranteed confiscate your guns. And she even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention. All at taxpayer expense. And as you know, we had a little trip to McDonald's a couple of days ago. And she lied about working at McDonald's. It was a part of her story. I worked over the French fries, so I decided to see what it was like. And those French fries were good. They were good. They were right out of whatever the hell they may come out of, but they were. No, but think of it, and the press refuses to acknowledge it. They refuse to cover it. They have tried, and McDonald's denies it. And she never worked there. She never worked there. They went to everybody. Some people went and really did spend a lot of time on it. No, she lied, and she's a liar. And on top of all of this, Kamala turned our military as woke as it can be, which is not woke because they are great. What they did for me with ISIS was, these are not woke people. But take a look.
You little scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not laugh! You will not cry! You will learn by the number!
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
So you're a killer? Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face! Sir, you got a war face? Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah! Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face! Ah! You will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death, praying for war. But until that day, you are pukes. You are the lowest form of life on earth. You are not even human fucking beings. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
How to abracadabra, these bitches know I got answers the way I...
It looks to me like the best part of you ran down the crack of your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress. I love working for Uncle Sam. I love working for Uncle Sam. Let me know just who I am. Let me know just who I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps.
Thank you. You got to remember, we won 2 world wars. We won a lot of things. Most recently, we did defeat ISIS, and they said that couldn't be done. It was going to take 5 years. It took 4 weeks. We have a great military, and they're not woke. Some of the stupid people up top are woke, but they're not woke. You couldn't make them woke if you tried. You couldn't make them. You could put them in what's called a woke cage for 2 years, and they'd come out fighting, believe me. So in conclusion, with your vote this November, we are going to fire Kamala Harris, and we are going to save America. With your support, we will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to North Carolina. They're coming back. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American again. I will end the war in Ukraine very quickly. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening. We're so close. The biggest risk is this number of months before January 20th. We will crush the violent crime that's plaguing our cities and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect they so dearly deserve. They will stop the crime. We will strengthen and modernize our military. You know, we rebuilt the entire military. And then they gave a lot of military. A lot of our military was given to Afghanistan. Isn't that nice? Think of that. How about that? That was the most embarrassing moment in the history. 13 dead soldiers, many, many horrifically wounded with arms and legs obliterated. They gave billions of dollars of equipment. They didn't take Bagram, the air base. They should have kept Bagram. It's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear missiles. Isn't that nice? They didn't take it. And we left people behind. We left Americans behind. They moved the military out first. A child. You know, I had one of the rallies, and I had this little 5 or 6 year old boy in the front row, and I called him up to the stage. His mother was horrified. You know, I understand it. But he was up here, a little kid, and I gave him the facts in about 2 minutes. I said, would you move the military out first or last? I'd move the military out last, sir. These stupid people move the military out first. And you know, I didn't lose one soldier. In 18 months, I had a talk with Abdul, who was the head of the Taliban. Abdul, still there, he's still the head. And we had a talk because they were killing a lot of our soldiers with sniper fire and other things, and a lot of them with Obama and Biden, but basically Obama. I don't think Biden knew where the hell he was then either. So they were killing our soldiers, and I told them I don't have to get into the conversation. For 18 months, we didn't lose one soldier. And then we had a tragic election, tragic. Think of our country. We wouldn't have had inflation, least importantly. We wouldn't have had inflation, but we wouldn't have had Russia going into Ukraine. Zero chance, zero. Wouldn't have ever happened. And it didn't happen for 4 years. Even the Democrats, most of them agree, the honest ones, which there aren't too many of them, but even they say it wouldn't have happened. And October 7th with Israel would have never happened. They wouldn't have killed all those people. Those people were killed. And the hostages, now they're waiting for the hostages. There won't be many hostages. There are not going to be a lot of hostages. Those people are probably long gone. So many of them. I've been saying that for a long time. That's part of the problem. The other side doesn't know what to do because they don't have the hostages. It's a very sad situation. That would have never happened. All these things would have never happened. Think of the difference in the world. Viktor Orban, the head of Hungary, Prime Minister of Hungary, very powerful guy. He said, they said to him, what's going on in the world? It's blowing up in the Middle East. It's blowing up with Russia, Ukraine. What's going on? You didn't have any of this stuff when Trump was here. What is going on? He said, the problem is you don't have Trump. You put Trump back, it's all going to be better. They would have never done this with Trump as president. It's interesting. Right? Peter knows, right, Peter? We will build a missile defense shield all around our country. We're going to be safe. We're going to be made in the USA. It's going to be made in North Carolina, partially. We will land an American astronaut on Mars, and we'll call Elon, let's get going. We want to do that. But we really want to, and as part of that, we were in big trouble in space. China was lapping us, and Russia was lapping us. And I created Space Force. And now we're lapping the whole world with Space Force. They've done a great job. Part of that whole thing is about military and military protection. It's going to be very important. It's going to be one of the really best decisions we ever made doing Space Force. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. And we're going to go to Congress and ask very strongly, because that little riot that they had 3 months ago, they were burning American flags all over the place. We're going to ask Congress to, they say it's unconstitutional, I disagree, to give a 1-year prison sentence for anybody burning the American flag. Early on. That's right. That's very nice. Very good. You came prepared. Look at you. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty, I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, our Second Amendment. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country and defend our borders and protect our citizens. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all, and it will be stopped. And again, we're going to let people into our country, but they're going to come into our country legally. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left lunatic agenda. And we have to have a landslide of an election that's too big to rig. We have to get out. You got to get out. Early voting is underway, so get everyone you know, get your friends, get your family, get Alice to get her husband, who just will not get off that couch. Come on, Jack. Let's go, Jack. You got to do it, Jack. You can do it. Turn off the television just for an hour. We'll be right back, Jack. Turn off that football game. It doesn't really mean anything, Jack. Especially with the new kickoff return. Did you ever see anything so stupid in your life? They have to ruin things at work. Is that the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen? After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. With your help now until Election Day, we will redeem America's promise. We will put America first, and we will take back the nation that we love. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And we will never give in, we will never give up, we will never back down, and we will never, ever, ever, ever surrender. Together we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country, and together we will make America powerful again. Make America wealthy again. Make America healthy again. Come on, Bobby. Bobby's going to do it. Bobby, let's go, Bobby. You're going to make us healthy, Bobby. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you.
Well, hooligans, there you have it. President Trump live in Greensboro, North Carolina. I think he was on fire all night. There was no slowing down. He's ready to go. He's ready to win. That's what it is. He is ready to win. Well, we're going to read through the chat and hang out with President Trump until he is no longer on stage. Read what you guys thought or are currently thinking about President Trump and how he did here at this rally. I think we have another Trump event tomorrow. I assume he's going to go live every day, multiple times a day, until we make him win. Either way, After President Trump is no longer visible, we will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance and wrapping things up. But we'll be live again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Coffee with Hooligans. I'm going to read through the chat really quick, and while I do that, I'm going to drop this Linktree link to all of you hooligans, where all of my links are listed. So if you would like to make donations, join membership programs, or purchase any merch, I would really appreciate it. All of your guys' contributions keep us running every day except for Sunday. So we've got to have a day to recharge those batteries. Definitely go join Discord. Discord is our free hooligan community. It's the best way to be notified every single time we go live. The hooligans are there keeping the conversation going 24/7. And we have 2 news boards to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. So definitely go join Discord. If you're feeling real saucy, go join jeffmaclive.com. Over on the website, it is the best way to experience the live. Our built-in chat has more ability than any other platform. You can post memes and GIFs and custom emojis and all kinds of stuff right there in the chat while watching the live. You'll also have access to Hooligans Alley, which is our private social media area. You'll have access to our forums to encourage open discussion. You'll have access to the arcade, which is a lot of fun, and it adapts to your phone. And you'll also have access to our advanced messaging system, where we all gather Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for our voice chat, which is a lot of fun. The advanced messaging system has built-in group chats, and it gives you the ability to text each other, call each other, video call each other, group texting, group calling, group video calling, and more. jeffmaclive.com is the place to be, and it's the home of the hooligans, so definitely go get yourself a membership. I'm going to read through the chat really quick. We're doing the pledge, and then we're wrapping her up. Snooks, President Trump has a PM speaking event, 7 p.m. rally Wednesday. Is tomorrow Wednesday? Yeah, it is Wednesday. Thank you for letting me know, Snooks. Breeze by you. Trump was awesome, as usual. I agree. He was killing it. He doesn't seem exhausted to me. Everything Hyena Harris does backfires and blows up in her face. Cadillac's another great speech by President Trump while Kamala takes the day off, probably hungover. I assume so. She's probably sleeping on the floor somewhere, smelling like dusty ass and shame. Zero, I love it. Energizer Bunny. I know, he just keeps going and going. They love him there. Look at that. The crowd is so excited. Salt Ragu, Trump is the man. I agree. Thank you, Kilgore. Thank you for being here with us. What's up, Deputy Dog? Happy freedom to you. Cricket Kiss, Nelk Boys, and Trump. We were all trying to figure out who that guy was in the background with his jewelry on and his sunglasses and all that. There was a lot of hooligans suspicious of him. He seemed alright. He was all psyched when President Trump turned around. Cashflow Obama's rallying for her. She needs all the help she can get, and it still isn't working. Didn't they just have Usher at one of her rallies or something like that? I mean, talk about being desperate. And they had gigantic Lizzo in her ads. I mean, like I said, they're trying to give her all the help possible, and she is still doing terrible. U-Town, I'm on the same board. I'm not gonna say this stuff out loud, but I'm right there with you. Lisa, Donald Trump's a bad bitch. He's out there strutting. He's getting it, Lisa. He is getting it. President Trump cracks me up. Cheeky chops, Hyena Harris blows. She does. Harder than Hurricane Helene. Snooks, it was Usher. Yeah, he was looking all flamboyant and stuff. That's alright. Well, hooligans, it is that time once again. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we made it. Well, like I said, we will be live again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Coffee with Hooligans. We're going to read through the chat one last time just to make sure no hooligans are left behind. And I'm going to eat tacos because I'm starving to death. I hope you hooligans have a fantastic night tonight. Thank you, Cassie. Appreciate you being here. Wayward, Snooks is hot. Appreciate you, Wayward. Happy freedom to you. Thank you, Pumpkin. Appreciate you joining us, Deputy Dog. Appreciate you, Normal Times. Thank you, Sarah V. You're awesome. You're so awesome. Kevin with chips all stuck in her hair. I know, she had Gretchen Whitmer feeding her chips on her knees. You know that's what was going on. Libby Racer Rumble is looking good. It's very interesting that every time President Trump is live, we get a straight, clear live stream on Rumble, but then we do Coffee with Hooligans and it's a blurry mess. I'm not changing the settings or anything. That's why I keep saying there's something going on with Rumble, but hopefully they're getting it all fixed and stuff. Grinch, another good one. I agree. President Trump, he's out here getting it. Cashflow, they just had Eminem on. I heard that Eminem was going to be introducing Hyena Harris at her upcoming rally or something. What a sissy. Eminem sucks now. He used to be anti-establishment and all this stuff, anti-political correctness, and now he's over there sucking the nipples off of Hyena Harris. Oh, no. Oh, no. He's trash bandicoot. Rapping his way right into the herpes-infested waters. It's terrible. It's terrible. Guess who? Jeff Mack interviews the Hawaiian hottie, new Republican Tulsi Gabbard. No, I don't do interviews, but she'd probably be able to walk circles around me. Tulsi Gabbard, she's a badass. Hey, thank you, U-Town. Appreciate you being here with me. Cheeky Chops, yeah, Usher's a little flamboyant. All right, Hooligans, it looks like we are good to go. Like I said, we're going to be live again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. Huge shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you Hooligans, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for all your support, and I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.